I'm voting for Trump because of interest, as I indicated. I'm basically a conservative individual in terms of my values. I don't believe in same-sex marriages. I don't believe in a society where women are loose and are basically walking around butt naked, guys wanting to act like women and women wanting to act like men. I'm a conservative individual, and um, that conservatism goes along with my religion of Islam.
Welcome to the Daily Detoxx podcast. I'm your man Deon J, and we have back again good brother Leroy Thorpe. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Man, a lot of things have been going on since we last talked. You know, this is about to be a crazy election coming up, and who are you with? You with Biden? you with Harris? You with Trump? I mean, you confuse me at times, man. So,
well, yeah, I'll tell you, I'm a registered independent voter. However, I really don't think that it makes a difference who gets in there. I think individual has to basically do for oneself. You know, you have to have the capitalistic theories. You have to have the Calvinistic theories, the Darwinism theories, and exclude the racism theories in America if you want to survive. These are the four components or variables that basically will make you successful. But if you get stuck on the racism one, you really can't do that unless you got power, and most of the power is by those folks that are not people of color in this particular racist country. But I don't let that hold me back. But to answer your question directly, in this election, I'm voting on interest, so I would have to go with Trump. And
well, you know, Trump has some issues with Muslims, and you're a Muslim. You know, you're into that type of denomination. So, I mean, how does that affect you in reference to how he feels about Muslims and other races?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, yeah, I am. I'm a Sunni practicing Muslim. My family, my wife, and my daughter. Yeah, he does have issues with Muslims, and most of those are these immigrant Muslims that come over here and they do some things that are un-Islamic, you know, killing people, bombing people, whatever the situation is. And be honest with you, most of those folks that he's talking about are ignorant. Most of these foreign Muslims coming over here from these Muslim countries are ignorant regarding the religion, or they wouldn't be doing the violence that's associated with it. And a lot of them are racist, particularly these Arabs. They got a lot of racism going on. I don't particularly care too much for them. Same with the Pakistanis. I don't care too much for them in Islam. That they get caught up on the racist theories, you know, skin color, some things that is prohibited in Islam. You know, racism, culture, discriminating against somebody's color or culture. I believe, you know, Trump is going to make the Supreme Court more conservative. The liberal aspect have gotten out of hand, you know, recognizing gay rights and civil matrimonies of men marrying men, women marrying women. It's
how you feel about their you know, their push for having transgender bathrooms.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, you have a young daughter, right? Would you feel comfortable?
No, I would not at all, man. That's why I'm voting for Trump. At an interest, although he's a racist and crazy as hell, I think he's pretty good with the economy, and he support moral values. Although himself, he got some major issues, but he support moral values. And no, I wouldn't feel real good about my daughter, rather going into a restroom for transgenders. These neoliberals, man, have really messed this society up. And like the Roman Empire, the country's going down because of the liberalism.
I mean, you heard Trump in the debate where he didn't really denounce white supremacists and you know what they call what's the group called?
Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys. And how do you feel about that, man? I mean, he's telling them to stand by, and
when I talk with liberals and they say to me, "How could you, man? You're African American. He's racist." I said, "Listen, you're voting for your interests. What you like, and that's what I'm doing." I said, "I know he's a racist. I know the man he has some mental health issues, but as far as me being a conservative, I support morality, and he support putting people in place that support morality to the best they can in this society, and also the economy. I think he's good at the economy, how to get the economy moving."
But Obama really he decreased the unemployment rate. So Trump likes to take credit for some of Obama's or decreases in the unemployment rate. So how do you feel about that?
I'm gonna divert from that and say that Obama also was the most immoral United States presidents we've had in history. He's the one that supported gay marriages. He supported Supreme Court Justice, what's her name, Meyer or something, from New York City, gay lesbian to the Supreme Court. He was a very immoral president, the most immoral president we've ever had. Not only that, he killed more Muslims. You're talking about Muslims. No one has killed more Muslims as a United States president than Barack Obama, who was studying Islam as a little boy, was raised up in Indonesia at one particular time, studying the Quran, and all of a sudden he became a disbeliever and killed a lot of good Muslims. Killed a lot of good Muslims, more Muslims than any United States president. So Obama is not one of my favorite presidents.
I mean, do you think he did anything for black people?
Not. I mean, he would go to, say, some black organizations or fundraisers and probably belt out a Marvin Gaye tune or something like that. And most black people, they're easy to manipulate when it comes to politics. He's going to do this, and you got to do it for yourself. Obama did a lot for the LGBT community. He did a lot for the Latino community. He appointed a Supreme Court justice, a gay woman. He for the Latinos and stuff. She was Latino. For the gays, and he didn't do anything for black people. What did he do for black people? I'm still waiting for someone to tell me.
He gave us hope. He gave us the vision to believe that we could be president. At one point in time, like a black man could be president, right?
Come on, man.
Think about that. It happened, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense to be president when you have a white mind. It's like black skin, white mask. When you start talking about Fran Fanon's book, Black Skin, White Mask, he here's a guy that was a black man, but he thought like a white man.
So you're saying Obama wasn't really black? I mean, what are you saying?
Obama's a mulatto. He's half black, he's half white, but his policies, his presidential policies reflected immorality with gay rights, LGBT community, and also he supported the Latinos, but he didn't do anything for African Americans, man. Like I said, he didn't do anything for African Americans. I mean, even look at, I've said this before, even look at his own household, where his oldest daughter is dating a rich white boy from England. It's like she don't have any self-esteem or self-pride to find a good black man out there somewhere, man. I mean, so, you guys are, African Americans, they're the most easiest people to manipulate and just take advantage of, man, because they're so forgiving and so giving that they don't look after their own interests after decades, centuries of being in this country and not knowing how to vote for their interests.
So how you feel about Kamala Harris? I mean, she went
Kamala Harris.
She went to Howard, like you went to Howard, and she was an AKA and a Kappa sweetheart, Kappa Diamond.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people say that she is a culture vulture.
She was a Kappa Diamond?
Yeah. Did you see the picture? There's a picture of her with Z Brothers, and she has a Kappa Diamond shirt, like a sweetheart.
You want to know something?
What?
when I was in grad school at Howard, from 80 to 83, Kamala Harris probably was she was definitely an undergrad there at the time I was there. And I love them AKA sisters, man. They some fine, sophisticated sisters. Okay,
Most definitely.
And the brothers at Z chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi, they were very good to me. I played at Epsilon Delta at Marshall University. But let me just say this: I was there at Howard at the same time she was there. Did I know her? I don't know. I don't remember. But let me just say that Kamala is basically probably about a quarter of Jamaican. Because her father was a mulatto who was mixed with Jamaican and something else, and her mother was from India. She basically identifies more with the Indians, the Indian culture, the East Indian culture. She basically, to me, is really someone that's a social climber, charlatan, and a very good house trained house Negro. Here's a woman that basically use a black sorority. When you look at the Divine Nine, she used a black sorority to get ahead. She went out and dated a married man, Willie Brown, of San Francisco, the mayor and the speaker of the San Francisco Assembly, to ascend her political career, and basically screwed her way up as a prosecutor, allegedly. All this is alleged. And the thing is that this woman, she pledged to the black sorority, but she married a white boy. She married a white boy. Here's a woman that probably had low self-esteem, no self-esteem or pride in her own culture, like most of these so-called black women that make it, and they want to go out and get a white man to be validated. She wants to be validated. So I don't really think too much of her. In fact, there's one reason why I'm not voting for Biden is because of her. I'm not going to further her career to use black organizations or black people to further her career when actually she's not even black. And not only that, she had made public statements. There's some YouTube videos out there where she indicated that when she was in undergrad that she used to listen to when they posed the question, who you listen to in music? Oh, I listen to Tupac. Tupac wasn't even on the scene making music. They wasn't even making music at the time. So this woman is basically, she alive, she doing anything to get ahead. And I can understand her sorority sisters trying to support her. That's your sorority sister. And those black people that are fool thinking that she actually is black and she got herself a white man. Y'all can go ahead and do that. But I have a young daughter at home, and I have an older daughter. But particularly my young daughter, I have to make sure that she's on the right path to have confidence in herself and to see black women out there that have self-pride, that is not afraid to exercise their blackness and be comfortable with their blackness instead of looking for validation in somebody else's culture.
Mm. Yeah, man, it's like nowadays, it seems like whites want to be like us and we want to be like whites. But whites understand that they're white, but we don't understand that we're black. So it's like, that's the reason why we can't come together, because we don't identify ourselves. All of us don't identify ourselves as black.
Well, and that's why you have sometimes you have this so-called separation between Africa and other blacks around the world. Until Africa get respect, until those so-called colonialized thinking house Negroes over there in the African countries at the head of these countries, when they stop depending and holding a hand out, asking former colonial powers for financial aid, and start educating their people and having health care, then we'll get respect. We you look at any other culture, you can talk about the Italians identifying with Italy. You can talk about the Greeks with Greek, the England folks, the white folks from England identifying with England. Africa's kind of screwed up right now because most of the parts of it, because you got these Uncle Tom colonialized house Negro presidents over there trying to be validated by white folks and asking for and begging for the aids when all the natural resources are there, and they're trying to basically get the bad stuff from America. And America's going over there taking all the riches. They're taking their diamonds, they're taking their gold, the uranium, their cocoa, the sugar, the shea butter, whatever you want to name. But these fools over there, In Africa, bleaching their skin, these women are bleaching their skins trying to look white. Their beautiful black skin trying to look white while they're catching diseases from bleaching their skin and trying to look like some of these little dried up white women here in America.
It's funny you say that. I was watching a podcast video with O'Shea Duke Jackson, and he went over to Africa to visit.
It's the same thing. Like I was on a tour today. True story. Maybe we can get some some footage to show you today. I was walking around in Nakasero Market, but when I was walking around, right, and maybe we'll play it in this clip. There is a particular guy, and he asked the guy where I was from. All right, true story. Asked me where I was from. The United States. And the guy said something Muzungu. I said, I know Muzungu. What is he saying? The guy says, man, I miss seeing white people. I really wish they would come back. Now, I'm from America. I'm black. And he talking about, I wish white folks would come back. Now, keep in mind, we are the ones filming this. Promoting the tourism company and the brother that's showing us the tour. To try to get the brother some more business. He's out here talking about he wish he see more white folks. The worshiping of, and when white people see him, they don't think, in my opinion, as highly of him as he thinks of them. And you know what? He's probably okay with that. And that's the thing with some brothers. Some brothers know that a lot of white women that y'all are talking about in the same vanity, that they're not looking at you the same way you're looking at them. They don't. But you're worshiping them for what reason, I don't know. They don't.
Like it's kind of something like, they see enough of themselves, which is, Africans or blacks.
What country was he in? Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
Well, let me tell you. Like when you look at the countries like Uganda,
right?
You don't find a whole lot of white folks there. I mean, because blacks are doing very well in Uganda, and the white folks they do okay. But let me just say that you have countries like Senegal and Ghana. That are doing extremely well, and these people live better than most of the people live better than us because they own their property. They're nothing. They're getting on credit. They own their property. They come to America. They build the wealth when they come here. They get educated. They go back home, and they build their homes and and their houses are humongous and they're very beautiful. The problem I indicated before is that the leadership has to change. The leadership has to change. But this is just basically a few folks that come over, get educated, go home and do that, but they have to have that basically translate into leadership there running their countries. But white folks, man, and like in Senegal, man, Senegal is very proud people. And African Americans should go over to Africa and see how beautiful it is. They don't want you going over there because most of those folks from Europe are going over there and they're retiring and they got beachfront properties and they own businesses and resorts and that type of thing. They're living very good, eating very healthy. They're not eating all this so-called food that you have here that's got all kind of adjectives and all kind of byproducts that's causing all kind of health issues and sugar and salt. These folks basically eat very fresh vegetables, fresh catch fish and that type of thing. And that's why they're very lean. They're very lean. And their transportation system does not match ours. But these folks live very, very healthy, and their family values and morality are very good.
What did you hear that statement about a month or two ago that Akon made? You know who Akon is?
Of course, I know Akon. He's from Senegal,
right? And he made a statement that black folks should get over slavery.
I think it's also the art of just letting the past go and moving towards the future. And I think in the U.S. they have this stigma of just not letting go of the past and blaming the past on every mishap or, disappointment. And I think as long as you hold on to that past, it's just a lot of weight that you carry with you everywhere you go. And it's hard to move forward and move fast when you got to, weight on your back. Right. You just got to let it go.
Well, and let me tell you what I interpret by this statement. And he's almost right. And I told you before, in America, black people do not know how to live. You have to understand what makes America up. It's Calvinism, pulling yourself up by your bootstrap. Let me go out and get it myself. Let me do a business. If I don't have no money, let me make some money. Let me go and get the bottles that people are throwing away and make a product or something out of it or sell it.
I mean, what about systematic racism?
Well, I'm getting to that. Let me get to the
All
theories.
right,
You
go
got
ahead.
Calvinism, you got Darwinism, the strong shall survive. And then you have free enterprise. You go out and make your own living. And then you have racism. These are the 4 principles that make up America. African Americans can't get over racism. So therefore, they're not able to practice Darwinism, strong shall survive. Calvinism, pull yourself out by your bootstrap. And free enterprise, go out and get a living. They're stuck on that. Africans come over here, they don't have that slave type of oppression and discrimination
But there's
that
still
we encountered.
There's some traumatic experience that happened
Without
in
a
our
doubt,
culture.
there's
So
definitely
we're still
there's
affected by
definitely
that.
there's definitely trauma
Right.
that's been there, but you have to overcome that. And this is what I believe he's saying. You have to overcome that. If you want to be successful, you have to overcome that. I mean, look at myself. I mean, I'm caught up in a racist system. I've been incarcerated in jail before. I've never been to prison or nothing like that. I'm not a felon or nothing like that. But here's with that, I was at the mercy of Allah. I overcame that. I'm an educated man. I have a master's degree. I own my own house. I have another property in New York. My wife has bought 3 properties in Senegal. And we're not rich people. We just know how to manage our money. African Americans don't know how to manage their money. When you own property, it brings the wealth. That's how you build wealth. This is what white folks do. Black people like to get the money and go out and show off with a big chain around their neck or buying the big screen TV or riding around the car and wearing some nice clothing and then treating their friends and everybody to the club and making it rain. So it's about how you train. Basically, like yourself with your son, you're training your son. Your son plays sports. He's very good in sports, and you pay your son to play sports so that he know that when he gets ready to go out as he gets older and play other sports, he knows the worth of money, how much he should be getting paid on that level.
Right.
And so you're training him properly. We don't do that as a family.
That's true. I mean, I saw a few podcasts of this guy called Kevin, and he basically was talking about how majority of the white families will benefit way more with generational wealth due to the CARES Act.
Why? Well, according to Housing Wire, 73.1% of whites owned homes, and only 40.6% of blacks in 2019 owned a home. That means whites were almost twice as likely to own a home. That means whites were almost twice as likely to be eligible for the $0 mortgage. Why? Because the CARES Act allowed you to simply affirm that you needed mortgage forbearance because otherwise you wouldn't be able to make your mortgage payment. In other words, no documentation required at all. If you owned a home and you affirmed that you couldn't make your mortgage payment, heck, you could still do this if you haven't yet, you could have your mortgage put into forbearment, which means for right now, don't worry about it. You don't have to make your mortgage payment. The average mortgage payment in the country for just principal and interest is about $1,000 per month. That means with up to 12 months of forbearance available, that's an extra $12,000 that white families are twice as likely to get to keep in their pocket. That's way bigger. That's 10 times the size of a $1,200 stimulus check. And it's substantially more. It's almost 4 times. Actually, it's more than 4 times what the black family would have received in stimulus. And the white family is twice as likely to receive this compared to blacks because of the higher home ownership rate amongst whites compared to blacks.
African American, their total wealth put together, their spending habits. Let's talk about the spending habits.
Okay.
Equals the 9th largest country in the world. Their spending power. But what do? They misappropriate their spending, their budget. Cars, alcohol, tobacco, throwing on the lottery. Just foolishness. Big screen TVs. Just foolishness. Then they're caught into the system of saying, oh, we can get over and get a government check. But the government check is going to take away your motivation, your self-esteem, and your so-called ability to go out and make it on your own. And you look around and you see this what's being taught in the homes. It's a cycle of poverty and ignorance. Instead of raising a kid the value of education to be able only to compete in society, they say, okay, I'm going to get pregnant. I'm not married. I'm going to get pregnant and I'm going to go and get me a welfare check or something like that. And here's a guy that not going to marry you. You're going to probably go around and get a couple other girls knocked up because they don't have the proper upbringing in the house. The mother doesn't. They look at the mother running around trying to get a man to take care of her instead of her going around and getting herself together to have an income. And then you got a guy who don't want to work and want the woman to take care of him on welfare, public assistance. This is something that's got to break, and it has to be talked about because, one thing that Republican girl, what's her name, Candace
Owens.
Candace Owens is gone. We know Candace is on another planet. But one of the good things that she talked about, and she's right about, is how the Calvinism aspect, blacks got to go out there and stop doing this stuff. She's absolutely right, and it has to be addressed. Although blacks don't want to hear that, it's a fact. And most blacks are not on welfare. It actually is white people because there's more people in this country than blacks. It's just a perception they put out there to basically look at black people in a negative, negatively. But the point is that we have to train our children and we have to learn how to do proper financing and money management and become homeowners. Instead of saying, I got a nice apartment, got to pay my rent. No, man, you got to get a house. You have to have a house, which brings wealth, not living in some apartment. And that's how you get wealth. And this is not trained. We're not training our people to do that. And a part of that is a leadership problem. Is leadership within the black community, the leaders that don't talk about this. This is something real that we have to talk about if you really want to move forward in this country.
Well, I mean, you have leaders like the Minister Farrakhan, who preaches, black-owned businesses, right? I mean, I know he's.
I went to that first Me and Man March Farrakhan had, and Farrakhan, man, was talking about get everybody give $1, and what happened to the money? He's supposed to build something. Nobody heard nothing about the money, man. So we can't use Brother Farrakhan as no example because he wasn't practicing what he preached. We got to move on to somebody else, so you could find somebody else to use as an example.